Information and chief host of this platform for the opening remarks. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lady that is securing and defending our nation, a lady that's in the field of men. Permit me now, ladies and gentlemen, to invite this lady to come and tell Nigerians how she is securing this country and defending our nation. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please join me to invite the Honorable Minister of State Defense, Erelu Dr. Olusola Agbeja Obada, to come and talk to Nigerians. Honorable Minister.
Good morning, everybody. The Honorable Minister of Information, my dear colleague and friend, who actually has done half my presentation for me. I welcome you all to this briefing of the Ministry of Defense. And on behalf of myself and my ministry, the Defense Headquarters, the CDS is here, the service chiefs are here, all our senior military officers, the permanent secretaries and directors. I'm happy to be here to brief you on the activities and programs of my ministry. The Ministry of Defense is strategic for the achievement of the security objectives of the federal government as specified in the transformation agenda. The ministry, through series of policy interventions, strategic plans, and annual budget implementation, has continued to sustain the protection and defense of Nigeria's territorial integrity by the armed forces of Nigeria. It provides administrative and support services for the effective performance of the defense sector and the Nigerian armed forces. And these activities will enable the Ministry of Defense achieve its vision of actualizing a defense sector with modernized and well-trained armed forces, fully professionalized, compact, and mobile with adequate equipment, firepower, and communications. Contemporary global security imperatives, and coupled with the current geostrategic setting in sub-Saharan Africa, have significantly altered the dynamics of the operating environment, thereby increasingly necessitating the need to reposition the defense sector in line with international best practices. And this is in order to implement and institute result-oriented programs within the context of the ministry's vision and objectives as encapsulated in the nation's Vision 2020 and in consonance with the transformation agenda of President Goodluck Jonathan JCFR. The aim of the presentation is to highlight the achievements of MOD from June 2012 to date. And the presentation will cover the following areas: achievements of the Ministry of Defense, achievements of Defense Headquarters, achievements of the Nigerian Army, achievements of the Nigerian Navy, achievements of the Nigerian Air Force. Now, for the Ministry of Defense. In realization of the objectives of the Ministry of Defense, as spelled out in the transformation agenda, the Ministry and the Armed Forces have carried out a number of activities to deliver on its mandate. Some notable achievements of the Ministry include coordinating the activities of the Armed Forces in providing aid to civil authority. To this end, A number of joint operations were set up by Defense Headquarters and the services in various parts of the country. These operations have achieved tremendous success, leading to a substantial reduction of casualties of terrorist attacks, kidnappings, and other criminal activities. National partners, and a lot stands to be achieved in terms of information sharing, capacity building, and exchange programs. The ministry has continued to support the armed forces in research and development. It is one of the major objectives of this administration to develop the military industrial complex of Nigeria as part of its industrialization drive. And to this end, the federal government in 2012 set up a high-powered committee headed by the Vice President to reposition the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria, DICON, for greater efficiency. And the report of the committee has been submitted to Mr. President, and is expected that the recommendations would help initiate a transformation in the local production of military equipment. In the meantime, DICON has gone into partnership with foreign companies for the manufacture of weapons, bulletproof vests, and other equipment. DICON is also in the process of partnering with private organizations under a public-private partnership arrangement, PPP arrangement, for the production of armored personnel carriers, APCs. And also give support to peacekeeping missions, especially in terms of improving the state of contingent-owned equipment of Nigerian peacekeepers in various missions. And also improving the administration of military pensioners as evidenced in the approval granted in 2012 by the federal government for the inclusion of all military pensioners in the National Health Insurance Scheme. The ministry has provided support services to the tri-service institutions and defense parastatals to ensure effective accomplishment of their mission objectives within the period under review. The tri-service institutions are National Defense College, Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Nigerian Defense Academy, and Nigerian Armed Forces Resettlement Center. And the defense parastatals include Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria, Military Pensions Board, Defense Health Maintenance Limited, and the Presidential Committee on Barrack Rehabilitation. In the area of healthcare, the Ministry of Defense HIV Program Emergency Plan Implementation Committee, EPIC, in partnership with the United States Department of Defense HIV Program, the Walter Reed Program, has offered HIV counseling and test services to many Nigerians and placed over 25,000 on antiretroviral therapy. In the last year, 15 new sites were established to provide these services, and the services are rendered free. The Emergency Plan Implementation Committee has established the Defense Reference Laboratory, which will be accredited internationally by the College of American Pathologists. May I just mention here that most of those to whom we are giving antiretroviral therapy are civilians, not just people in the armed forces. The plight of orphans and vulnerable children from HIV/AIDS has been a major focus of attention of the ministry. Accordingly, the ministry inaugurated a board of trustees to oversee that their needs are fully catered for, and already 50 children are benefiting from this arrangement. Now to the Defense Headquarters. The Defense Headquarters' major role is the coordination of joint services operations, both in and outside the country. It's also administratively in charge of all tri-service institutions. During the period under review, the Defense Headquarters' primary focus had been in the area of internal security challenges. In addition, it had been actively engaged in missions such as United Nations mission in Liberia, UNMIL, United Nations African Union hybrid mission in Darfur, UNAMID, United Nations mission in Cote d'Ivoire, ONUTI, ECOWAS mission in Guinea-Bissau, ECOMIB, and the African-led International Support Mission in Mali, AFISMA. However, AFISMA is transforming into United Nations Multidimensional Integrated Stabilization Mission in Mali, which is now referred to as MINUSMA. On 1st July 2013, in a few days' time, following United Nations Security Council Resolution 2100 of 25 April 2013, which approved the establishment of the mission under the auspices of the United Nations. Now to internal security operations. The success recorded by setting up of the various joint task forces in some parts of the country is a major achievement of the Defense Headquarters. Multinational Joint Task Force. This multinational joint task force is a tripartite operation involving Nigeria, Chad, and Niger republics. And the task force is charged with the responsibility of containing cross-border banditry and criminal activities around the international borders of Chad, Nigeria, and Niger. And some achievements of the task force within the last 1 year include checkmating the influx of illegal arms within its area of responsibility through robust patrols, the arrest of some members of the Boko Haram group, including those who escaped to other countries, and the establishment of forward operating bases from where quick response force is launched. Now some of the other operations. The Special Task Force Operation Safe Haven. This was established on 21st January 2010 following the crisis that engulfed Jos Metropolis on 17 January 2010 and later spread to other local government areas. It is tasked with the maintenance of law and order and protection of law-abiding citizens within Plateau State and some parts of Bauchi State. Some of the achievements of the task force within the period under review include establishment of forward operating base at Gashish District. This district has much grass, which generates conflict between the Biram farmers and Fulani herdsmen. And since the establishment of the base in August 2012, there has been no report of clashes that has been received in the area except isolated cases of criminalities. And the task force has also established civil-military relations network through the purchase and distribution of mobile phones to selected locals across the state for timely passage of information. And this has reduced the reaction time of the Special Task Force and instilled caution on would-be criminals. It has also demonstrated the professionalism of our troops and endeared them to the hearts of the populace. Now to Operation Pillow Shield. This is in the Niger Delta region and was established with the aim of protecting oil installations and curbing oil theft following the dissolution of Operation Restore Hope, due to the amnesty program by the federal government. The area of responsibility of this operation has been expanded to cover 9 states in the southeast and the south-south regions of the country. Some of the achievements of the task force within the last 1 year include the enhanced protection of oil and gas facilities through increased air and ground patrols of pipeline networks to deter vandals from sabotage activities. Troops were deployed on most critical platforms on a 24/7 basis to enhance their security. While criminalities in the industry have not been completely eliminated, efforts of the Joint Task Force have reduced the level of crude oil theft drastically within the period under review, and the conduct of incisive anti-illegal oil bunkering patrols led to the arrest of 1,653 suspects and the destruction of 3,778 illegal refineries within the past 1 year. Similarly, 120 barges, 878 Cotonou boats, 161 tanker trucks, 178 illegal fuel dumps, and 5,238 surface tanks were destroyed by the Joint Task Force. Within the last 1 year, the Joint Task Force has destroyed militant camps at Oron in Akwa Ibom State, Ikang in Cross River State, Foropa in Bayelsa State, Ojoma Creek and Ferupakama community in River State. The Joint Task Force recovered many arms, ammunition, and explosives, and confidence building between the troops and the populace. The operations of the Joint Task Force had made Maiduguri and the environs untenable for miscreants. The destruction of some identified improvised explosive devices, IEDs, production factories, and recovery of large caches of arms, ammunition, and explosives. Identifying, monitoring, and controlling the influx of illegal immigrants into Borno State and their repatriation as appropriate. Now to Operation Guyana. Following the declaration of state of emergency in 3 states, Operation Guyana was established to contain the excesses of Boko Haram. The operation has so far been very successful. The insurgents, as you are all aware, have been dislodged from their stronghold at Sambisa Forest. Some of the images of the area are shown on the screen. You can see some of those places. Of course, this is a very, very important operation as we want our country exactly back the way it was before this insurgency, and we are succeeding. Now to peace support operations. Nigeria has continued to honor international obligations through contributions to peace and security across the globe, particularly in Africa. And to this end, the Armed Forces of Nigeria is participating in 9 United Nations peacekeeping missions within and outside Africa with about 5,000 officers and men, including military hardware deployed to various missions in the period under review. In November 2012, a total of 186 personnel were deployed to Guinea-Bissau. In November 2012, Guinea-Bissau as part of the ECOWAS military intervention force to restore normalcy to the troubled West African country. And similarly, following the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2085, which approved the formation of the African-led international support mission in Mali to flush out the rebels operating in the country, Nigeria deployed a reinforced infantry battalion on 17 January 2013. And some of the achievements in the area of peace support operations within the last 1 year include repairs and upgrading of the contingent-owned equipment, which we call COEs, in Darfur, particularly the armored personnel carriers and other logistic vehicles by a team from the Nigerian Army electrical and mechanical engineers. The effective conduct of pre-deployment training at the Nigerian Army Peacekeeping Center in Jaji for all units inducted into the mission area, and also for military observers deployed to various missions. And then, of course, the acquisition of new armored personnel carriers for troops deployed in Darfur and Liberia, the production of national cost data for peace support operations. This entails the articulation of all contingent-owned equipment requirements for troop contributing countries and police contributing countries in line with United Nations specifications for a period of 2 years. The DHQ has also worked hard in strengthening and promoting civil-military relations through public enlightenment and sensitization programs organized at the various locations of the Joint Task Forces. And these programs have been a huge success, especially in acquainting the civil populace with the activities of the Joint Task Forces. Now to the achievements of the Nigerian Army. The Nigerian Army, popularly referred to as the NA, has made some significant achievements in the last 1 year. The Army has refurbished a large number of armored personnel carriers, APCs, armored fighting vehicles, and the Shilka guns, which are aimed at enhancing its capacity for internal security operations. Not only that, and to save the country's scarce foreign exchange. Some refurbished vehicles and guns are shown on the screen. Good. The NA has modernized the firing range at Jaji military cantonment with the installation of electronic target display machines to enhance troops' accuracy and precision. And as part of efforts to boost research and development in the military, the Nigerian Army manufactured the first indigenous armored personnel carrier, which it has named or christened Igirigi. In another vein, the Nigerian Army has established a dog center at Abuja for deployment at strategic areas in order to enhance search operations and for detection of explosives. I've had cause to see these dogs, and you do not mess around with them at all. A number of personnel from the Nigerian Army Corps of Military Police have been trained both at home and overseas in the handling of these dogs. The Nigerian Army has also established the Army Transformation and Innovation Center to provide the lead and guidance for promotion of improvements through reduced operational risks and increased operational efficiency. The Nigerian Army has established many forward operating bases across the country to curtail the activities of terrorists, kidnappers, and oil pipeline vandals. The Army, in a bid to improving the operations of troops deployed in the creeks of the Niger Delta, commissioned 8 gunboats with enhanced speed and firepower. Welfare of personnel was accorded a high priority through series of renovation works, rehabilitation of dilapidated infrastructure, and construction of new facilities using direct labor in almost all the barracks across the country, as shown on the screen. Similarly, many abandoned projects were reactivated and completed, as shown on the screen. The Nigerian Army also constructed new barracks at Ohafia and Kuje using direct labor, while the barracks in Gwagwalada is under construction. Bungalow apartments were also constructed for 3 Nigerian Army officers who were victims of the ill-fated Dana air crash, and these bungalows have been handed over to their next of kin. In the area of healthcare, a medical center was commissioned in Benin, Edo State, and the Army has strengthened its intelligence network in order to checkmate the activities of terrorists and criminals. In addition, there have been series of joint military training with the police and other paramilitary agencies at combating the spate of terrorism in the country. One of such trainings is the counter-terrorists and counter-insurgency training extended to the Nigerian Police and Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps personnel conducted at the Nigerian Army Training Center, Kontagora. There have also been some tremendous efforts by the Army at improving civil-military relations by conducting seminars, conferences, and enlightenment campaigns of military activities. The Nigerian Army is also involved in national development, such as construction of roads and bridges for some states of the Federation. Now to the Nigerian Navy. The Nigerian Navy, on the other hand, espoused the Trinity of Action concept, which entails enhanced surveillance, response initiative, and reinforcement in order to enhance Nigeria's maritime security. This initiative was targeted towards revamping the requisite sea power for maritime control and protection of Nigeria's economic wealth, particularly in the Gulf of Guinea and the Niger Delta. Accordingly, to enhance surveillance of Nigeria's coast, the Nigerian Navy integrated the Regional Maritime Awareness Capability Center with the Coastal Maritime Radar Surveillance System assets, which were previously under PCOMS, thereby increasing the radius of coverage of surveillance. The Navy conducted 4 major exercises under the participants on the fundamentals, policing operations, interdiction at sea, as well as to practice techniques and procedures. The exercises are Farauta, Ichunta, Indikara, and CO2 Diopamu. The Nigerian Navy also participated in the United States-sponsored multinational maritime interdiction exercise involving navies from 10 nations in the Gulf of Guinea. This exercise is called Obangame Express. And the last one took place in Douala, Cameroon, in February 2013. The exercise was aimed at updating countries in the Gulf of Guinea on the fundamentals of conducting policing operations at sea, and also the exchange of techniques and procedures. Our NNS Thunder and our NNS Burutu participated very actively in the exercise, which was a huge success. The Nigerian Navy, in a bid to provide a secure and enabling environment for maritime resource management, organized a retreat for maritime stakeholders at Uyo in Akwa Ibom State. Furthermore, the Navy has made new acquisitions of platforms, marine gunboats, and patrol vessels to enhance security. And among these are the Shaldag and Osia boats. Other platforms acquired by the Nigerian Navy are shown on the screen. The Nigerian Navy has also commissioned a locally manufactured seaworld defense boat, which is named NNS Andoni. The boat was commissioned by Mr. President on 1st June 2012 in Lagos. His Excellency on that day also laid the keel for the construction of the second seaworld defense boat at the Naval Dockyard. That is ongoing now. It's also noteworthy to state that from June 2012 till date, increased patrols by the Nigerian Navy led to the arrest of over 50 vessels for various infractions and illegalities in Nigerian waters. Some of the arrested vessels and barges are shown on the screen. Furthermore, the Nigerian Navy is currently running a joint security maritime patrol with the Republic of Benin, Operation Prosperity. And this operation has drastically reduced the menace of piracy and other criminal activities in the waters of the two countries. In fact, the United Nations Security Council praised this operation between Nigeria and Benin Republic, and has asked other nations to look upon it as a model for how to also conduct their own maritime security cooperation between nations. In furtherance of the war against crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism, the Nigerian Navy launched a new website, www.cot.navy.mil.ng, to provide details relating to movement and transshipment of crude and petroleum products as promulgated by relevant authorities. The Navy, in conjunction with the Joint Task Force in the Niger Delta, has destroyed 671 illegal refineries between January and March 2013. And details of illegal refineries destroyed by the Nigerian Navy units are shown on the screen. You can see them there. Now to the Nigerian Air Force. During the period under review, the Nigerian Air Force, NAF or NAF, improved its operational capability by reactivating more of its unserviceable platforms. The NAF engaged in airlifting troops and equipment to mission areas within and outside the country. It airlifted Nigerian contingents and those of other sister African countries for missions in Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Sudan, and Mali. And the NAF has enhanced national security through air maritime patrol operations, to curtail illegal maritime activities, and to support surface forces. Several missions were also flown with NAF helicopters in support of disaster relief operations in conjunction with the National Emergency Management Agency. The NAF has also engaged in mass training of pilots within and outside the country to enhance operational effectiveness. 20 pilots were winged after successful completion of pilot training, including the first female pilot in compliance with presidential directive. 32 other student pilots are expected to graduate this year. Similarly, the NAF made giant strides in promoting the aviation industry by establishing the International Helicopter Flying Training School in Erelu, a project that will conserve foreign exchange for Nigerians. In infrastructural development, the NAF comprehensively upgraded the Kaanji runway facilities to accommodate night flying operations for the first time in the 28 years history of the base. And in the area of domestic aircraft engineering, the NAF conducted periodic depot maintenance of its fleet of Alpha jets, Donia 228 aircraft, including one from Niger Republic, as well as one C-130H Hercules aircraft, which is almost concluded. And the NAF is also taking advantage of the public-private partnership initiative and pursuant to providing needed airlift support for the Armed Forces, African Union, United Nations operations. The NAF holding company, through one of its subsidiaries, Aeronautical Engineering and Technical Services Limited, has entered a joint venture agreement with the objective of improving our airlift capability. The company has acquired a Boeing 737-500 aircraft towards achieving this objective, while an additional aircraft is expected to augment the fleet in August. This venture is an important step towards building the desired military-industrial complex that we are looking forward to. Another project designed to bring Nigeria to aeronautical prominence internationally is the conduct of the biennial Air Expo. Air Expo 2012 was exceptionally remarkable in this regard, and the next edition of the Air Expo would be in 2014 with a centennial dimension. The NAF has made significant breakthroughs in the field of research and development. The NAF has entered into various memoranda of understanding with 12 universities and 5 research agencies to promote innovative activities in the service, as well as develop the capability of its personnel and vice versa. In its quest for excellence, the NAF recently commissioned the Center for Innovative and Adaptive Technology at the Air Force Institute of Technology in Kaduna. Furthermore, the Research and Development Department of the NAF carried out the remodification of the Augusta 109 LUH helicopter in its fleet. The departments also produced a protective cover for the drag chute switch of the F-7 aircraft to prevent inadvertent activation. Other achievements of the NAF include the remodification of the battery compartment of the F-7 FT-7NI aircraft to accommodate more durable batteries, production of hydraulic diaphragm for the Mi-35P helicopter using locally sourced expertise and resources, and the production of power supply unit for high-frequency RF 5800 radio as shown. Additionally, a link trainer, a simulator for the ABT-18 aircraft and aircraft ejection seat stand were produced. In the area of administration, the Cancer Screening Center in the NAF Hospital Abuja is currently the best in Nigeria, while the medical laboratory in the NAF Hospital Agbeja is the only 5-star rated laboratory in the West African sub-region. The laboratory received an international award for its excellent services in December 2012. The NAF carried out various projects during the period under review, and while some projects have been completed, others are at varying levels of completion. Among the completed projects are the Center for Innovation and Adaptive Technology, the construction and kitting for personnel. Other projects executed by the NAF are shown on the screen. Now, in conclusion, we have heard in the past few minutes, or 30 minutes or so, that the key policies of the Ministry of Defense are centered towards the building and maintenance of a flexible, compact, and highly trained armed forces as encapsulated in the transformation agenda of the present administration. These have been achievable through a series of key programs and plans by the ministry. The ministry has made modest achievements through its efforts at reprofessionalizing, training and retraining, and equipping the armed forces. Some achievements have been made through internal security efforts at curbing the activities of terrorists and criminals in some parts of the country. Nigeria still remains an active player in both regional and world peace efforts. And finally, the military is ensuring the oneness and unity of our great country, Nigeria. Thank you for listening.